Hello, Carol. Can you hear and or see me? This is Mary. Hello, Dr. Garrett. How you doing, Tracy?
Greetings. How are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. My cold is getting better and I'm glad to be here. How do you want us to address you and how do I pronounce your last name?
Oh, my last name is it's really Osu, like Dr. Wadi, Stephen Wadi says, but I say Osu because it's easier for me.
Oh,
So
Sue.
my last name is Garrett Osu.
Garrett, so I am in a similar situation. The correct pronunciation of Dodoni was lost in history. My mom did it
Ah,
differently than my dad did. So,
yes, yes.
and and then when I was married to the tyrant who insisted I take his name, oh my God, I shouldn't tell you that because you are happily married.
I'm
I was
very happily married.
I was stupidly married. I hyphenated the same way and because I wanted to honor both names.
Yeah, you know.
All right,
So yeah. Um, the key for me is getting married way later in life to a younger man.
you give me hope.
There's always hope. I mean, really, truly. I pray to God, bring me the man, the person you would want me to be with. For years, I did that. For
My,
years. So,
my gym was Carol, no, we can't, dear. We can see and I've spoken to you, but I cannot hear you. Now, this may necessitate you logging out and back in. Um, Hello, Kristen. We can see that you're logged on.
Good morning. How is
Good
everyone?
morning. It well here. It's good to see you. Or it's good to see your name.
Yeah, sorry I can't be on the camera, but yeah, I'm here
I,
listening.
I
Thanks.
shouldn't be on camera, but at least I'm being faithful to what I look like today. Hello, President Wadi. Hello, Kiana. It's good to see you.
Hello.
Morning.
Do we allow the note takers to stay?
Yeah, I'm gonna let the note taker stay this time. So.
Okay.
Well, Mary, can you hear?
Can you say something? It's coming from his audio.
Mary can speak and we can hear you.
All right, cool. You want to move this to somebody who can control it?
Where do you wanna, where do you think it should be appropriate?
I don't know. Last time we had it in the corner over here.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Well, is it my microphone?
No, we're hearing you, President Waddy. Are you hearing us?
My computer.
Now you've muted yourself, or you are now muted per the signal. You are muted and we can't hear you.
No, because we're using the Bluetooth speaker, so you
Ah,
yeah, my computer.
Hello, Mary, can you hear us?
I can hear relatively clearly when Antonio, I think, just asked that question, but when you were speaking, President Waddy, I could not hear you.
I got you. So the issue was that my computer microphone was on. But let me see here if I can share. Then went to go bring in the coffee and donuts, and we're going to have Reverend Lit coming by later should be here, but should be in a few. So in the meantime, I'm just going to call the meeting to order and have our motion to approve the agenda. I did want to make an amendment to the agenda. I want to move the Religious Affairs and the Political Action Committee reports up to Armed Services, where the Armed Services and Veteran Affairs reports are, so that they are able to get there. I know they want to be able to get our host here, the Power of Believers, up first.
Okay. I therefore move, and I don't know if someone else is moving because I can't hear very clearly. I can hear Jennifer speaking, but I cannot discern what the words are. I can just recognize it's her voice. I move we accept today's agenda as presented with the following amendments: that the reports for religious affairs and for political action be moved up to either before or after the Armed Services and Veteran Affairs report, so that our hosts and those who need to leave or have other constraints can speak sooner. I believe at this point we need a simple second. Carol Smith has posted that she has seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Aye.
Aye.
James May, thank you. Okay, so with the approval of the agenda, we can, do we have minutes of the previous meeting?
No, we do not at this point, which I assume we will explain shortly.
Okay, so not having minutes of the previous meeting, we do have the AI notes that we can use subject to the amendment minutes from the previous meeting. So be able to use that to be able to try and move forward. Regards to the president's report, I did submit a resolution from the branch to the National Resolution Committee on May 1st regarding the deaths in custody report that was issued by the governor It was drafted by Reverend Marguerite Morris, and she submitted it to us. Myself and Dr. Giordoni, who was secretary, signed off on the resolution, and it was submitted. They reviewed it. Apparently, I talked with yesterday with Faith Blackburn, who was at the national meeting. I did not make the national meeting. It was May 5th to the 7th, and I was teaching, so I had worked that day, those days. So, so, and we had testing this week, so I was preparing for testing, you all. So it was a very important moment for teaching. But the National Resolution Committee did accept our resolution. They made a few amendments, so it will be a part of around, I think they said they had around 90 resolutions or so that were approved by the resolution committee. So ours was one of them, thankfully. So this is I guess the first time in a few years that we've actually been able to submit a resolution that hopefully will be approved at the national level. And again, this was around the issue of deaths in custody and the medical examiners determining that the deaths in custody were either accidental or the cause of death was unknown. And then Governor Westmore issued a report subject to the legislature's, I think the General Assembly required this report to be issued regarding changing the determination of deaths in custody. And so there are around 30 deaths in custody that were changed from being unknown to homicide. And the chief medical examiner for the state of Maryland testified on behalf of George Floyd's murderer, Derek Chauvin, during the Derek Chauvin's case murder trial. And that caused a lot of alarm for many of us. And so after the chief medical examiner, he was chief medical examiner for like 17 or 18 years. After he did that testimony, then the state of Maryland decided to review the decisions that were made regarding the deaths in custody. We got our cameras over here, so
I can turn it.
let's see what. Okay.
Oh, we'll swing it around the front.
Okay, that'll work. And so the resolution is trying to encourage other states to review deaths in custody as well and get them accurately reported so that there'll be an accurate reporting of deaths in custody. Reverend Tillett has just shown up, and so I want to give him some time to snack. If you want, you got some time to snack, and Mary's got some very important information as well. Mary, do you want to go or?
Yeah, I will speak from for the last time from the role of secretary. Doesn't mean I won't contribute as a member to the maximum extent I can. I have recognized over the years that there are times people should just leave roles for all sorts of reasons. In my case, I am not able to perform at the level that the branch or national NAACP deserves from a secretary. It is not within my capacity. Therefore, it is time for me to leave. I have already spoken with the executive committee about this and with President Wadi. I am able to function quite effectively at many things, but not at the bandwidth I have tried. And not as well as I used to be able to, or at least deluded myself that I was able to do. There are a few tasks remaining open that I will continue and clarify with President Wadi and with the other officers as necessary. And I continue to be engaged with a number of complaints. As President Wadi knows, this branch gets referrals for complaints from national and from the Baltimore city office. For some reason, the Baltimore City NAACP, whatever it is, what it is now is unknown to me. I can't even put a name with it, but I can say whoever answers the phone there refers phone calls down to this branch. So I have been engaged with several complaints, and I have been remiss in completing some of them. That is very high on my sense of responsibility to this branch and to the complainants. I will do transition with the assistant branch secretary, or at least previously assistant branch secretary, Neva, to make sure that the other responsibilities of secretary are smoothly transitioned. I will observe that I have very much depended on the AI notes and my few handwritten notes, but the AI notes always needed, in my experience, my estimation, reworking. It gets things wrong. It attributes them to the wrong line of discussion and to the wrong persons, but they are were invaluable to me as a tool. And in closing this part of my presentation today, I want to respond to a question, something that President Waddy voiced on our executive committee meeting on Wednesday evening. He said to me, "I hope you got something from it too." And my honest, deepest, most heartfelt answer is, "Oh God, thank you. Yes. The work with you folks has given my life hope and meaning in a time when that has been so very, very essential. And unless you throw me out of the branch, I will remain until my last breath." Thank you, everyone.
We're happy to have you, definitely.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to throw Mary out of the branch. Just kidding.
He who in that very location 10 years ago exactly handed me a pen and a piece of paper and said, "We need a secretary."
And you have served well and honorably. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we definitely look forward to hearing about the good news about all of your ability to stay healthy in the future as well. Thank you, Mary. And you are welcome to stay on as Education Committee Chair as well, continuing your great work building literacy campaigns around the county and keeping in contact with the school system regarding the Joint Commission on eliminating educational disparities. So that's you said that you plan on continuing that, and so we definitely want to continue to make sure that you're a part of any work the education community does moving forward as well. Thank you again. Thank you for all your hard work and all of your dedication to the branch. And I know these past few months have been really tough for you, and the complainants have kind of opened our eyes to ways that we need to continue working in the future. And your words that were printed in the newsletter been helpful as well and very enlightening. So definitely appreciate you. And I don't think anybody can say that you haven't dedicated at least 20 hours a week to NAACP work for the last 10 years or so. So you definitely been earned the right to step down as you please. So thank you so much, Mary. And thank you so much. So we have again our former president, Reverend Stephen Tillett, is here today. He's running for the state senate. Last month we had Delegate Mark Chang, who was here. He also is running for the state senate, District 32, and Reverend Tillett is his challenger in the Democratic Party primary. And so we wanted to be able to have both candidates come and speak. And Reverend Tillett is able to make it today briefly. He's got a lot of other responsibilities on his plate today, but we definitely are grateful to have you here today, Pastor at Asbury United Methodist Church, Asbury Broadneck, excuse me. United Methodist Church. They hosted our legislative symposium back in December. We learned a lot, and amongst other things, he's been a wonderful partner to me, and I'm sure to everyone else that's on the call and around the table here today to get a lot of work done. And so we wanted to hear his plans for District 32, which many of us live in over here on the west side of the county. I myself do, in Severn. And so, Reverend Gillette, I know your time is brief, so I'll just pass it over to you. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. So where am I looking there?
Yeah.
Okay, no, it's fine.
You gotta spare me.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for granting me this grace last month. Honestly, I don't even remember what it was on the third Saturday.
We had a fundraiser.
Yeah, that was it. Okay, see? I've been in a season of funerals. Matter of fact, I have one at noon today. We had one yesterday. We have one more coming. You heard about it. And so that will be 5 in a span of about 2.5 weeks.
I just want to say we're going to keep Ralph Thomas in our prayers as well.
Right. So the homegoing service today is for his older brother, Dwight Thomas, who passed away. So thank you for granting me this opportunity to speak with you. First, Mr. President, I would just say that it is an open seat, so I'm not his challenger. We are running for an open seat. Now, I know that the incumbent had kind of put her thumb on the scale and withdrawn from running at the last, and apparently only let Mark know so that he could come down and file for it. But as you know, I served as president of this branch for a few years back in the teens. Since then, I've also served as one of the co-chairs, one of the clergy co-chairs for ACT, Anne Arundel Connecting Together, and concurrent with that also as a tri-chair for the Maryland Poor People's Campaign. So I will start there just to say that poverty is one of the main points of focus for me as a candidate. 4 out of every 10 of our fellow Americans, 4 out of every 10 of our fellow Marylanders are people who would be described as poor and low wealth. What does poor and low wealth mean? It means that you are struggling to hang on, almost certainly underpaid, and one crisis or unexpected expenditure away from being in a lot of trouble. By way of example, a couple of months ago, I went into the Firestone dealership at Fort Meade with my car, and they said, well, these 2 tires, we don't really feel comfortable sending you back out on the road with these 2 tires on your car. The other 2, okay, but these 2. And then, of course, if you've ever changed your tires before on your car, you know that you want them to be the same, at the same depth at the same time so that it's not an uneven ride. So basically, you need to get 4 tires. For some people, that expenditure of over $1,000 would mean, okay, what are we going to cut back on? We're going to buy this amount less of food, or we got to balance between food and gas and other expenditures which are rising because they are in the poor and low wealth category. For me, I pulled out my AFES card, the military charge card that works on military bases, and they charged me $1,000 and changed my tires. So for me, it is important that we keep our 40%, 4 out of every 10, which includes a whole lot of children. I'll get to that in a minute. Low wealth Americans in our view and at the center of our focus as far as policy making is concerned. In fact, it is my intention to work with the folks from the Poor People's Campaign to develop a statistical instrument that can determine either the benefit to or the harm to poor and low wealth Marylanders with every piece of legislation that comes. There's already a note on a lot of the bills for the economic impact, the financial impact, whether it increases the deficit, what will be required to help pay for it. But I would like to have that kind of measure before us as well, as far as poor and low wealth Marylanders, so that what we do sponsor and come through the legislature will lift them up and help them to get out of the struggle as opposed to deepening the hole. I mentioned something about youth, and I want to go back to that because understand that policymaking and legislating is a choice. It's a choice that reflects our values and our concerns and our vision and hope for the area that we serve. And so if you think back to COVID, just a few short years ago, you think back to COVID and the Congress expanded the child tax credit, which at the passage of that bill signed by President Biden, it lifted 50%, statistically, lifted 50% of children out of poverty. But in order to pass that bill, because it was such a slim margin, the Democrats had to make a negotiation with the Republicans where there would be a sunset on that would not be a permanent advantage to struggling families, but it would only last until like last year or something like that. And so you ask that prompts the question, who would execute a policy, enact a policy that would lift 50% of children out of poverty for 2 or 3 years and then cut the strings and let them fall right back into it?
Cool.
Policy making is a choice. It reflects our values. And so it is my intention when I go there, and I know that there are going to be a lot of things on our plates, and sometimes people will ask you questions about, what will you do about this? What will you do about that? Sometimes the answer is, I don't know. I have to be there. I have to be in the room with the other senators, engaging in dialogue with the House of Delegates, the governor's office in some cases, the comptroller's office in some cases, to determine what makes sense. But I do know that one of the things that will help me to help me to be a very useful state senator for District 32 is this right here. And I'm going to listen to what you have to say. On my campaign literature, it says that I want to be your voice in the room. And so as part of my going around and speaking to people, I'm hearing their hearts and their concerns. And some of the best ideas for legislation can emerge from those conversations. But this will not be just about me. I'm going to be one guy out of 47 people, one senator out of 47 in the state Senate. So what I will need is a partnership. And what that requires is that every now and then, I might have to call back and reach out to President Whiting, Vice President Downing et al., and say, there's going to be a hearing on this issue or this bill at this time in this place in Annapolis. And I need a room full of people wearing NAACP t-shirts, ACT t-shirts, Poor People's Campaign t-shirts, some willing to testify, to lay out your case, to tell anecdotes, because a lot of times people deal with facts and numbers, but after a while, facts and numbers numb the brain and people stop receiving. But if you tell a story, and especially a personal story about an anecdote about your pain and your struggle, that might stick with them. So, but if there's a room full of you, so that I might have written the bill or co-sponsored the bill with other senators and cross-filed with somebody in the House of Delegates. But when everybody behind me is advocating for the same thing, fellow citizens, constituents of some of these legislators, that will have impact. So that's going to be a partnership. So you don't get to get me to the door and then say, good luck. I'm talking about a 4-year partnership here. Yes, sir.
Just wanted to ask a couple questions.
Sure.
Do you have time?
Yeah, please.
Okay. What bills do you consider or laws that have been passed that you feel like you have played a role in getting passed already to show that you have like legislative experience?
Right. So the one that comes to mind immediately is Catherine's Law. And as you will remember, Reverend Marguerite Morris, her daughter died under suspicious circumstances 10 years ago, 2016 and 2014, a while ago. And it was not investigated to our satisfaction or with the level of transparency we wanted. And so they're going to struggle with respect to the means of death and the classification of the means of death. And you heard President Waddy talking a few minutes ago about the now former chief medical officer, which is a medical examiner for the state of Maryland. And so with the advocacy of Reverend Morris and the NAACP and other members in the community, we were able to get a bill passed that Governor Moore signed that allows for a change in the death classification if there are some matters that are unresolved, that, you know, that there might be some experts who look at things and say, well, when I look at this evidence, I don't see this, I see this. So that is an area, that is an example of an area of a bill that I did help to shepherd and push through in the legislature.
Do you have any committees that you can see yourself on once you get to the Senate?
One that has a level of appeal, even though I'm not a lawyer, but when I mentioned that to somebody recently, they said, well, they probably need people that aren't lawyers on that committee too, because sometimes we see the world differently, would be the Criminal Justice Committee, the Judiciary Committee, because they deal with a lot of things that affect our community directly. For instance, I applaud my future colleague, Senator Shanika Henson, and some of the bills she got passed in this last session that for one will try to protect youthful offenders so that they are not cohabiting, being incarcerated in the same facility with adult offenders. So that protects them in terms of their physical safety, and also hopefully that those are some bad habits they don't learn. And that as a younger person, they might be able to kind of grow out of it, choose a different direction and trajectory for their life. And so for that reason, judiciary is one that has some appeal. Finance obviously touches so many things in the state. So, and in our district. And just to talk about District 32 for a minute, there are so many vital economic engines in District 32. District 32, a very gerrymandered district all over the place, but it starts up in Linthicum Heights where BWI Marshall Airport is. So we have BWI Marshall Airport, we have Arundel Mills Mall, Maryland Live, Fort Meade and NSA, Baltimore Washington Medical Center. And then at the southern end of my district, along Route 198 is the Laurel Russet community, and there's the Laurel Racetrack. So there are a number of economic engines in the 32nd district. So it would make some sense to have a say on a committee, have a vote and representation, presence on a committee that might have impact on those. So we'll see what happens. We know it's going to be political. Yep. I'm a minister of the gospel, so I can't tell you what I think about some of the politics I've dealt with over the past few months, but it's special. But my intention is to remain Pastor Stephen Tillett first, even if we end up putting Senator on there as well, to remember who I served and who sent me.
I saw editorial, I guess it was an interview that one of our local journalists had with Pam Vital, Senator Vital, and in her retiring with huge campaign coffers. She said that she's a moderate and she supports moderates. Do you consider yourself to be a moderate within the Democratic Party that would support, or are we living in a time where moderation seems more like complicity and with the status quo?
Well, that was a loaded question. I'm trying to remember the quote from Senator Barry Goldwater when he was running for president in 1964.
Oh, yeah.
An odd person to quote from, but he said
broken clock.
Something like extremism in defense of liberty is no vice.
Okay.
Something.
No, you got it.
So extremism in defense of poor and struggling Marylanders is no vice. And it would depend on what the bill is. Some bills or issues might require a flamethrower. I would say with respect that I don't consider my opponent to be a flamethrower. I don't think constitutionally that's how he is formed. I'm Malcolm Tillett's son, so if that were required, throwing some flames would not be a problem for me. I would try to be my default setting is collaboration and collegiality, but don't let the smooth taste fool you. If there's an issue that requires so-called extremism, and understand that a lot of things that people call extreme end up a few years hence not being extreme at all, but have become mainstream thought. So I'm not going to really bind myself with labels and that kind of thing. And I guess it would be easy for Senator Bidle to say something like that because she was a Republican before she ran for office as a Democrat. Mark Chang was a Republican and served in the Leopold administration before he became a Democrat. And so for them, moderation, in my view, might be what we would call Republican light, L-I-T-E. And I don't think you're electing someone to be a member of the state Senate as a Democratic voter representing Democratic Party and principles to be Republican light.
Okay, thank you so much. Judge Barber, I see you have your hand raised.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
You're on. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fine, thank you. And I appreciate your presence here because I know your history with the NAACP. And I say that firmly that before you even filed a certificate of candidacy for this office, you laid the legacy and the work and showed your compassion for people in the community and their needs and their concerns and their struggles. Um, when I ran for office as the first time in 2016, you were there 100% with my campaign and my challenges. You attended trials with me. Before again, there was a certificate of candidacy filed in this election in District 32. You have had a strong history of supporting people and the causes. I am concerned, however, also that um, during this last legislative session, the state Senate, only one sole state senator uh, kind of was the flamethrower when it came to trying to get Governor Bill's efforts to get redistricting done in Maryland accomplished. And I guess, do you consider yourself that type of flamethrower in that type of scenario?
You know the answer to that question. Absolutely. No, absolutely, absolutely. And here's the thing. I had a conversation with a member of that body who will remain nameless. It was not Bill Ferguson, but and their position, their response to me as they were waylaying into me for supporting redistricting was, we don't put anything on the floor, because I'm saying, well, at least let it come to the floor for a discussion and a vote. We don't put anything on the floor unless we're sure it can succeed. And that being the case, no games would ever be played. Say, well, I'm not sure if we're going to win or not, so I guess we shouldn't play. And we see what's happened. That the Supreme Court, the worst since the Dred Scott Court in the 18th, has now declared open season before the ink was dry on that horrid decision in the Calais case from Louisiana. Before the ink was dry, Southern states who had been hindered from doing what they used to do went right back to doing it. And all I will say is that if we end up with a one-person Republican majority in the House of Representatives in January, what is Maryland going to say? because we had the opportunity to do it. Now, let me say this. Constitutionally, I'm just talking about my personal constitution, I find mid-decade redistricting to be offensive to the design of our constitutional republic. It's not supposed to work that way. But since you have members in Congress and people on the Supreme Court who basically kowtow to the will of one man, irrespective of what harm it might do to the country. Sometimes you got to play the game that's being played. And right now, the game that's being played is, as you see, they're thinking that by the time these folks are done, they might have diminished the number of people in the Congressional Black Caucus by, I don't know, at least a third. That's not accidental. That's targeted in the same way that you have Hegseth in the Department of Defense, who is firing or forcing into retirement as many melanated and female officers as he can. That's despicable. It is intentional. It is by design. And so, Judge Barber, to your question and your point, yeah, that's time to throw some flames for sure. And now the problem is that from what I've heard, I was not there, but from what I've heard, I know something did happen in the instance of one senator that lost their position on a committee or committee chairmanship or whatever. But that if you are, as the political leadership of the Senate, now telling people, if you support this, these things are going to happen to you in your career. These things will or will not happen for bills that you sponsor on behalf of the people that you serve. That's a problem. Bring it to the floor, discuss it, debate it, vote on it. And whatever the vote is, it is. And then we go on to the next bill. I'm going to go all the way back to 1981. When I was in college, I had just been initiated as a member of Kappa Alpha Psi in a new chapter we were forming at American University. And there were 11 of us on my line. And at any time, if we were walking on the quad discussing something, and they said, well, that would require a vote. And we would look around, well, how many are here? Now, of course, you're not quite this loosey-goosey. But if there were at least 6 people that favored it, or in any meeting, if you were doing it properly, where 6 people were on board for something, the other 5 salute smartly and get on board and don't hold a grudge. And we knew that as 20-year-olds. And you have grown people in the legislature, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, that have not mastered something that seemed common sense and normal to 20-year-olds. You don't have any permanent friends or permanent enemies, just permanent interests. That's what they say in politics and public advocacy. So make your best case, and if people vote for it, fine, and if they don't, fine. And then you move on to the next thing. You don't make it, we're not Santa Claus here. I'm going to make a list and check it twice. That's not our role. But when we function that way and allow that to be considered normal, that's when the legislature puts their fingers in their ears, ignores over 2/3 of Marylanders saying, we want this. They do nothing, and it possibly could end up in a 1-vote shortage from what we need in the House. I pray that's not the case. I honestly don't think that'll be the case, because you can only gerrymander to a certain point. Can you give me 30 seconds more than this? Go ahead. State of Texas, 8.1 million registered Democrats, 6.5 million registered Republicans. Their congressional delegation, 38 members, 12 were Democrats, 26 Republicans. I say again, 8.1 million registered Democrats, but you only got 12. That thing is already gerrymandered to the hilt. So I predict, and other experts are starting to predict, that when all is said and done, when the dust settles, they're going to lose some of those elections, because you can only gerrymander so much when the majority of the registered voting population, and let's not ignore the fastest growing segment in our political cosmic universe, independent voters who are 25, a quarter to a third and growing of the percentage of voters. So the whole Democrat Republican thing. And then that will be one thing that Democrats and Republicans will agree on, is trying to figure out what we can do to keep the independents from, which is a whole other problem. I'm not going to get into that.
I just wanted to make sure people knew that you testified for the Governor's Redistricting Commission.
I did.
On this issue as well, so
I did.
people can check that out. And I also testified the NAACP had a conference call where we discussed it, and we heard a lot about how Black voters in the Eastern Shore are already unrepresented and underrepresented by Andy Harris. And so this would be and it's been centuries of that. So,
right.
This would be something that would remedy centuries of discrimination that Black people have experienced, and also an environment that has bred segregationists. They are immigrating there. Right. They're moving to the Eastern Shore. Mary has a question.
But hold on, but Mr. President, let me just say this though.
I got you.
It's not just brown, it's not just melanated people. Poor white people are getting screwed too.
Yeah.
When you look at the poor and low wealth numbers in the country, I want to say it's 66% of poor and low wealth people are white. But if all they do is look at the color of the skin of other people being mistreated, and it's like, well, it's okay, that's all right with me. Dude, but if you look around in the car, you're all in the same vehicle.
The Purdue family don't like you.
Right. So, Mary.
You're on mute.
Thank you. And I also want to acknowledge that we also just got a chat message come in. Reverend Tillett, I want to turn to that balance between the spiritual allegiance to God that you carry and your allegiance to justice. They are not separate, of course, but sometimes the role you bring forward is going to be a challenge. So here I am. I did not know you were one of the tri-chairs of the Poor People's Campaign. Are you still, by the way?
No, when I knew that I was going to be running for office, I stepped down from co-chair of ACT and tri-chair of Maryland Poor People's Campaign.
Thank you, but I'm going to refer to things that I've heard most recently for the last 12 years from Reverend Apostle
Thomas.
William Barber. No,
Reverend William Barber.
Yeah, and Reverend Dr. The list is long. And he's picked it. I believe he truly carries this over from the legacy of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. He speaks of policy violence. We started with the discussion of the various violences we are seeing, particularly in the prisons, and then the negligence violence, and then the explicit policy violence, such as you alluded to, out of policies everywhere, and as such as we see when we try to deal with complaints and find that we have individual policies that just don't mesh for anyone's benefit except the institutional benefits. How do we weigh that against a spirit of nonviolence? When I was taking my Poor People's Campaign training, we were explicitly taught you don't swear, you do not denounce individuals. Yet I hear Reverend Barber talking vehemently with the passion of Jesus in the temple about the policy violence, about the statistics, and about what he calls theological or and sometimes theological, and I know religious malpractice.
Mm-hmm. Religious malpractice or legislative malpractice?
No, spiritual and religious malpractice.
Okay,
think Paula White, think the golden statue.
Gotcha.
He is not silent on that. And
right.
As a legislator, how are you going to balance? So I know you're going to have to fight this balance constantly. What are your thoughts about it today?
I can just say it's in the book. I will be guided. I'll be guided by what is in scripture. I'll be guided by what's in the legal code, if you will, of the state, the annotated code of Maryland. And then we'll strike a balance, understanding that a lot of the things that were done to cause harm in the country were absolutely legal. Slavery was legal. Denying women the right to vote was legal. Jim Crow and all that came with it were legal. So sometimes even if it's in the code, if it doesn't belong there, you fight to take it out. But just one example, Mary, when you have people who claim to be religious people, who claim to be spiritual people, and they are so quick to try and run our Latino brothers and sisters out of the country. So you're a Christian, you say, you're a religious, you're a spiritual person. And the Bible says that you should treat the foreigner, the alien, as your native born. So either you're a Christian and or spiritual person, or you want to throw people out of the country. Either you're a Christian or you support taking a 5-year-old girl who was born in the United States, I believe, from parents who were from south of the border, cut off her cancer treatments and send her back home, a place that she's never been. Are you a Christian or are you a white nationalist? That's the question. And so that if it becomes a matter of discussion in the legislature, and it shouldn't really be a big deal in Maryland because we have Democratic supermajorities here. So in theory, so long as we are not weighed down by too many Republicans light, we should be able to prevent that kind of nonsense here. But another reason why I'm running for Senate is because at this point, the energy to protect, as a retired Air Force lieutenant colonel, chaplain lieutenant colonel, I took an oath to preserve and protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. A whole lot of domestic enemy behavior going on. And we got to push back. And so the fact that Maryland can be one of the states, along with your California and Illinois and New York and some others, that we can push back and do some things at the state level, contrary. In other words, well, whatever you were trying to break at the federal level, we're going to do our best to fix here. And then with healthcare, for instance, that you could have a compact of states and they might share the costs and coverage for healthcare. So it might be, just off the top of my head, it might be Virginia, Maryland, DC, heading up to Maine, the Northeast. And that might be a health compact. So whatever they're wrecking at the federal level, thank you for your suggestion. We're doing this. So, but those are things that have to emanate from the states. And so you need that energy and sometimes flamethrowing to get that done.
Shay Cookhead, one last.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you for running. Thank you for all you do and your service to this country. It's hard to say stuff. So I'm in District 31. I'm actually like 5 minutes down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm talking to, people that are running or people in my district, what would you recommend outside of what I value and what's important to my family and the community? What kind of questions would you recommend?
I'm not clear on your question.
Yeah. Well, you're getting a lot of questions out here right now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what are the ones that you think that will really show us who they are?
For you to ask the candidates that are running in 31. Who's running there now? Who are your people?
Right now we have Brian.
Simon Air. Okay, got it.
Toya.
Oh, the Congolo.
Yep.
Okay.
That's Antonio's best friend.
We're not a partisan organization.
He said best friend.
Sure, Kevin.
They used to be booed up in college, but I ain't gonna say that. You need to ask them the hard questions, because one of the problems that we're seeing is that people are so caught up in ideology and the letter behind your name that they will advocate for or vote for policies that are harmful for their own constituents. So that you just need to call them on that. I know that we were the National Poor People's Campaign before the big billionaire bill was passed. We were making calls to members of the House and then the Senate saying, Senator, just so you know, if you vote for this, X 100,000 people, smaller state, X million people, larger state, are going to be negatively impacted by your doing this. In the same way, that's something that you all should feel comfortable doing, to say that when you, senator or delegate, you advocate these kinds of policies. Because I don't see that it's my role to be a lock in step mouthpiece for something just because there's a D or an R behind it. All Democratic Party ideas are not good ones. All Republican Party ideas are not bad ones. That's why we need to have dialogue, you know? So I'm just not gonna, on its face, I'm gonna look at it. And if it's dumb, whether it's Democrat or Republican, it's like, no, we're not doing that. And of course, that's when the pressure comes. Well, Senator, we need you to, I told y'all when I got here, I respect you. I want to work with you as collegially as I can. But I also told you don't come to me with no nonsense. Because if there's nonsense, I can't do that. So that would be the challenge for them.
Thank you.
So that they accurately represent and serve the people that they're supposed to be serving.
Not just themselves, so that's a problem in the country.
Yeah. That part.
Did you have any closing remarks that you wanted to mention to us, sir?
If you live in Linthicum, part of Lynn Burney, part of Severn, part of Jessup, part of Savage, did I say Hanover? Part of Hanover, the Anne Arundel County portion of Laurel. I need your votes. I need your support. I would welcome if you reach out to me, I'll give you my email address. If you reach out to me with your name and address, I want a yard sign for your yard. Somebody will get it to you. My email address is pastortee1, PASTORTEE, and then the number 1 at gmail.com. You all probably been seeing that for years in emails. So that we would be glad and honored if you would receive a yard sign in your yard. We would appreciate it. And anybody you know, anybody you work with, you're related to, in a club with, go to church with, whatever, who lives in District 32, please encourage them to check us out. Share your experience of me and encourage them to vote for us if they're willing, and whatever other support they might want to do, knock on doors, etc. It is clear from what President Wade referenced with the $500,000 that Senator Bidel had in her coffers before trying to bestow all of it upon this slate that she has birthed.
The democracy slate.
The so-called, yes, okay.
So-called democracy slate.
Well, there's some stuff coming. I can't tell you exactly what it is yet. Stay tuned. So we're not going to have the same amount of money that they have. But what defeats money? People power. And at the end of the day, and this would be my closing thought, at the end of the day, there are more of us than there are of them. They always talk about the 98%, the top 2% financially. That means that anybody that's not in that's a whole lot of people. And so our policy should not be driven by nor exclusively serve, and certainly not to the point of harming everybody else. And if we will remember, now don't get bedazzled by the shiny things. And it's always been interesting that you will have people who are poor and struggling who will defend a billionaire's right to lay waste to the country because they like how the billionaire talks, They don't mind who the billionaire is hurting, not realizing that they're also getting hurt too. So just remember that we are not the minority. The group of right-thinking, forward-thinking people who are not interested in having the country go back. Right now, final thought, they're saying that the United States and this court, that the United States is being driven back to become as conservative as we were in the 1930s. My mother, who just passed away a couple of months ago at 102 years old. So mom was not yet 10 when this kind of thinking was dominant in the country. And for some, that would represent the good old days. We need to restore America, take our country back. You can take it back, all right. But who wasn't the country good for 90 years ago in the 1930s? Melanated people, women, LGBTQ people, immigrants, labor unions. I mean, you name it, you can run down the list of people who were in disadvantaged positions 90 years ago. And then the country progressed. And now people who are not comfortable with progress because they feel like the fact that they have to compete on an even playing field is a disadvantage to them. And I guess if you are mediocre, for having to compete on an even playing field would be a threat to you. Maybe you should try not to be so mediocre. But be that as it may, that's not good for the country. So remember that we're in the majority. And when people tell you, well, I'm not going to vote because voting doesn't matter. What I've been telling people every time I get a chance, you are either at the table or on the menu. Everything is determined by politics. Whether the pothole in your neighborhood gets fixed and when, whether they understand that there is infrastructure and plumbing that's rotting underneath the ground that needs to be replaced before a pipe bursts in the middle of the winter and then the whole neighborhood short. All of those kinds of decisions, the funding for our schools, care for children that have IEPs, children with autism and other kinds of challenges that need to be met, all of those things. And then God help us when you get to science and vaccines and facts and history and things that should be beyond argument. We outnumber the people that think the nonsense makes sense. But if we stay home, sit on our hands and say, I can't do anything, my vote doesn't count. If your vote didn't count, why are they doing so much to keep you from voting again, to steal your vote? If your vote didn't count, why would they do that? You have to act and get on your relatives, all those people that are talking that nonsense. Even if you have to say, okay, here's what we'll do. Let's order a ballot to come in the mail. You can fill it out in the comfort of your home. I'll walk with you to the mailbox and you put it in the mailbox. So then they don't have to go to the ballot necessarily, to the stand in line at a poll, but they still vote. We need to take that extra step so that as many people as possible vote and vote in their own best interest so we can turn this thing around before it's too late.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, we heard the music. Right. Thank you so much for joining us again, and good luck with everything on the campaign.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Come on.
Go ahead that way.
Okay. Good to see you.
Thank you.
I'm not in
You're not in my district, but you're in my church.
I know,
Yeah.
I know,
Good to
but
see you.
I'm telling people about it, but I can't vote for it, but you can.
And Antonio should follow me out so he can get a yard sign, please.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Oh, you too? Okay, well, I'll send him back.
I can't have it. Not part of it. Not part of it.
All right, thank you.
Can't touch anybody.
Okay. Thank you everybody for sticking with us and Reverend Tillett providing us with some great context and perspective on this upcoming election. So we did move back to our regularly scheduled program. Oh, I just wanted to mention, we mentioned two links. Put two links in the chat. One, Jen Roman put a link to find out where you can get your location, which district you're in. And I put a link in there to let you know what candidates are running in Anne Arundel County. Reverend Marguerite's daughter passed away in 2012.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to correct that. And I'm not sure if there was another thing that I wanted to correct. It'll come to me. But yeah, those were some of the things I just wanted to mention at first. So we pull our agenda back up. We have let me go to our political action committee. Oh, treasurer's report. I'm sorry, we didn't get to do the treasurer's report or the first vice president's report. Go ahead, Jen.
Okay. So opening balance for April in our checking account was $14,727.34. Total deposits was $589.63. Total withdrawals, $788.84. Our ending balance in April for our checking account was $14,528.13. We also have our savings account now. Started with $6,000. We earned $12.60 in interest. So our ending balance for that is $6,012.06. So our total money that we have is $20,540.73. And that's all I got.
Great. And we did get some adult memberships. Ralph was doing a great job out in the community, selling T-shirts and getting memberships in the newsletter committee. Judge Barber was able to sell some ads, so we're definitely grateful for all of the fundraising that was able to be done in the meantime as well. Thank you, Jen. Antonio, you want to give your first vice president's report?
My report will be short and sweet. I do not have anything for this month. Just been supporting President Lottie in the political action committee and getting prepared for the candidates forum, which Kiana will speak about later on.
You have any updates on the website?
Yeah, I am trying to get it updated actually now. So just the newsletter will be posted within the next couple minutes. So thank you, Judge Barber, for doing that. So and then also the other committee pages will be updated momentarily. Just didn't have time, but when my time is freed up. So we'll be making regular updates to our website. So again, bear with us. I will mention that on our website, we do have a countdown clock that reflects the days left for early voting, and then also days left for the election day. So for those of you all that are in our branch, if you wanted to know how many days until the primary election, we do have a countdown clock on our website that you can refer to. So just to keep it on the top of your mind when the primary election season will hit here in the state of Maryland.
How many days we got?
So early voting, we have 25 days. So early voting starts on Thursday, June 11th, goes through Thursday, June 18th. And then the Maryland primary election day is Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. And we have approximately 37 days until the primary election.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. So let's go to our political action committee chair, Kiana Banks.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. I just had a follow-up question for Antonio. So can you refresh my memory, please? Are we not getting like NAACP email addresses and we'll just continue to use our personal email like from moving forward?
So we'll have our, because we switched to the web service provider we had, they changed their cost model. So we only have secured 3 email addresses because we have to pay for them going forward. However, if you find that you will be sending out a lot of email communications, we can reevaluate to see if we can add another email address.
Do you have
Okay.
alias? In our business, unlimited aliases.
Yeah, so they have aliases, but it kind of works differently.
Oh,
But again, so I have been able to be in contact with the web service, their main software architect. So I can go back to him to see if we can have aliases
yeah, just
branched
have
off.
it forwarded to there, but yeah.
Yeah. But in their tool response, it doesn't give you the ability to do so. But I will take that question back to get that information found out. So more to come, Kiana, and I'll keep you posted in the event that you need an additional email address, in particular for Pat.
Okay. I just have the TikTok account is the email address is the old email address. So I just need to change that, but we can talk about that and figure out which one to use for it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so I guess the main thing that I've been working on is the candidate forum, which is being held on May 27th at John Wesley United Methodist Church in Glen Burnie, 6:30 to 9 p.m. We have candidates from District 1 and District 2, and also the county executive who have committed to attend and participate. We are looking for donations for light refreshments. I sent out several emails over the last couple of days to some local to Glen Burnie, like eateries and restaurants that are, I think all but one was Black owned. Still waiting to hear back on that. But if anyone has any ideas or leads for, or is interested in donating light refreshments for the forum, please let us know. We're doing a walkthrough of the church on Monday. We are still working on finalizing the moderator for the event, but that's in the works, so we should be fine by the time the forum actually comes. We sent out a questionnaire for the candidates to complete that speaks to their policy agendas and policy positions on several different areas. I think it was about 8 topic areas with about 2 questions within each topic area. That ranged from like black business contracting. We had something on agriculture and rural health and Black opportunities in that area. I think we had something on. I'm trying to think from memory, so I apologize. Health disparities and the like. So I haven't gotten any responses yet. I need to send out some follow-up emails on the questionnaire so that we can make sure we get some responses in advance of the forum. The intent was to send out the questionnaire and get some responses, and then use that to help sort of inform the discussion and the questions that we ask at the forum. I think that's all I have. Stephen, do you have anything to add about the forum that I might have missed?
Say that again, I couldn't hear you.
Did you have anything to add about the forum that I might have missed?
On the forum, that it's gonna be, I just want to say it's gonna be like a back and forth. We're gonna have each candidate give around 2 minutes to speak, to answer questions, and then rebut their questions. If you all have anybody from NCNW or your sorority, your fraternity, please bring them. Your homeowners association. Definitely inviting the media as well to be able to attend and be able to get that information out there. If you have any questions that you want to hear answered, I'll put my email in the chat so that we can ask those questions as well. If you're a business owner that's in Glen Burnie or any part of the county, really, because the county executive candidates are countywide, that is going to be an opportunity for you to get those questions out there, or any concerns that you might have. If you have ideas on how to pin somebody down, so that they don't offer a BS political response, I would be happy to hear them, because I have been watching. I went to the Caucus of African American Leaders debate that the county executive candidates had, and I was left wanting for many of the answers. Listened to the debate that they had on affordable housing. And while it was a lot of people who recognized the context, they talked a lot around the context of the lack of affordable housing in Anne Arundel County, their desire for solutions for people who have been on the county council was to blame the county executive. And then, as county, when I get there, it's going to be different, but you in the county council right now. So why isn't it different now? There's quite a few opportunities to this is one of the last opportunities, I should say, to be able to try and pin somebody down into what they will be doing. When it comes to law enforcement, I haven't heard any questions regarding law enforcement, whether or not people want to keep the police chief Amal Awad, whether or not people want to, how we can address the racist vitriol that's coming out of places like Chesapeake High School. How do we address issues that have gone on throughout this county for centuries regarding racism and segregation? So how do we pin these people down? If you have ideas, I'm willing to listen and implement them at this opportunity. And we got to show, as you heard Reverend Tillett say, we have to show them that we have numbers. So the best way for people who are well-funded is to be confronted by people with numbers. So we have to believe in ourselves, believe in our movement, and be in the space to be able to show that we have a voice and the numbers behind the voice. So my goal is to make sure that we all can be there. And if you are there, I'll be happy to see your face. And as Kiana said, we'll try and feed you.
Also, make a comment, President Wiley.
Go ahead.
Thank Kiana and you in putting this together. I know it's not easy
And
putting together in this form.
Corinne
and
Yeah, and
Maisie.
Maisie Howard. Yeah.
Also, I know that a lot of the candidates for so far have been in Annapolis, but it's also good to have a forum on this side of town because there's constituent issues that may not get the voice track time that they do in Annapolis, but deservedly so. But again, having it in Glen Burnie, having it at a church where we used to have our NAACP meetings and base, I think that is a good opportunity for folks on that side of the town to kind of get out and hear what these candidates have to say. Like you mentioned, what will you do different than what you're not doing now?
Yeah, Glen Burnie itself, Allison Picker represents parts of Glen Burnie and right now, and Pete Smith represents a little bit of Glen Burnie, a little bit, but so Glen Burnie has the oldest affordable housing stock in the county. So a lot of the suburban homes that were built in the early 20s are in Glen Burnie, and they're smaller, very small. These are small. What would they be like, bungalows? And so that's one of the reasons why we need to focus on what's happening in Glen Burnie. We had a shooting from ICE officers in Glen Burnie. Glen Burnie they have a new development that the new downtown development that they're building up. Glen Burnie itself has a reputation of being called Dirty Burnie. So it's something that we all recognize, and we gotta play a role in helping to address. Go ahead, Judge Barber.
Just briefly to comment about the significance of these candidate forums. I remember when I served as chair of the Legal Redress Committee for the branch, there was a groundswell in just generally speaking, of employment discrimination cases. And this is a wonderful opportunity for people who have employment discrimination issues or wrongful termination issues to come to these forums and ask these candidates, what are you going to do differently? What are you going to change in this whole bit? There's been also how Black women are treated in employment situations. And for that reason, we need to know how your candidacy plans to look at disparity in discipline, disparity in it's no different than disparity in sentencing in Anne Arundel County Circuit Court. So all of those issues matter. And to the extent that you want to get a real answer to important constituent issues of that nature, now is the time to come instead of, flooding the complaints lines when the situation happens. And then when the situation happens, you've got to scramble for legal resources that are often not free, and deal with the fact that you've got to prepare a defense for these challenges that come up. Thank you.
I think that's definitely something we've seen with the city of Annapolis. So with the city of Annapolis, we have the new administration coming in, and there's, as Barbara, as you've seen, there's been a lot of firings that went on in the previous administration. And so, we're talking about Police Chief Jackson, the city attorney. There's been resignations as well. We had a complaint from a woman who was placed on unpaid leave, permanent unpaid leave. So, those issues are things that we have to talk about. There was a question at the Caucus of African American Leaders debate around the lack of Black representation in the fire department for Anne Arundel County, which has been an ongoing issue. And again, a lot of context to it, not a lot of what's going to happen. It was, do you keep the police chief, who was a white woman, if she continues to not have Black graduates or Black captains within the fire department? So, like those, you've seen the police diversify. We have seen other areas diversify. Why isn't the fire department diversifying under Stuart Pittman now? So, saying my issue has been around the Office of Law. The Office of Law itself has been had around 3 Black people working there for the past probably around 20, 30 years in an office of 33. So there's been a lack at that level. And then if you see Black attorneys get hired in Anne Arundel County government, they're working on Black issues. Whereas white attorneys and white workers can be in whatever department. They can be everywhere. So there's a segregationist type of environment within the workforce. People are expecting Black people to only be able to focus on a particular area when they could be doing IT work, they could be doing any number of positions. And I think that that's the barriers that need to be broken down by our county executive candidates. And it's not something that I think we need to ignore. So thank you again, Kiana, for helping to organize this, and hopefully we can see some turnout. Again, bring your friends, bring 5 people. On May 27th to the event, John Wesley United Methodist Church. I don't see our religious affairs. So we did move up religious affairs, but I don't see our religious affairs committee chair here. He's not in the room with us today. He may be over in Kenya, I believe. So let's go to our communications committee.
I'll be brief. The newsletter has been distributed.
Your phone is
Promised.
breaking. Breaking up.
And so we look forward to meeting. The newsletter team hopes to meet again sometime in July, June or July, to prepare for the summer edition. Thank you all. And I also would encourage everyone to consider reaching out to businesses, encouraging them to advertise in our newsletter, even if it's a donut shop or if it's a auto repair parts store or something to that effect. Share the newsletter with them. Let them know they can get advertising at a very cheap cost. If they paid for advertising on a radio station or a television, it would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And ours is a fraction, like about $100 for a full page ad. And you get all the general, and it's distributed to all the general membership of the county branch of the NAACP, which is hundreds of people. So I encourage advertisers to advertise in our newsletter and send your graphics and all that to me or to the president, and we will certainly make sure that it is included. Thank you.
Make a recommendation.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me, Judge Barber? Good morning, Shay.
Yes.
I was gonna make a recommendation of creating a couple of social media graphics that puts the engagement rate or the number of people that are you're sending the newsletter to, all of that great data and statistics. So then when you can tag Central Maryland Chamber, all the chambers, and because that's what they do, and they get Dewan Claiborne, president of chamber, gets a lot of advertisements or businesses advertising on his website and stuff by tagging them on social media. So if you could do that, that would be great.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
We're also always advertising for helpers in our newsletter, assisting us with editing work, such as proofreading our newsletter before it gets distributed. So anyone interested in that type of work, yes, we can certainly use them. We appreciate it.
Mary.
Thank you very much, Judge Barber. Wonderful work that you and your committee are doing. It's a pleasure to be able to distribute that. I want to acknowledge the fact that for this issue, perhaps other issues as well, but I know for this issue, we were told that the newsletter paid for itself. Congratulations. Thank you. You are a role model in accomplishing that. I also want to ask for a placeholder in the summer issue. The complaint in which I'm currently very deeply involved is revealing. I think we would typically call it systemic racism. I would call it systemic oppression. I would call it systemic castration. President Waddy has agreed to write with me and with the complainant the story of the saga we are still going through, and it relates to housing as well. This complainant is living with his family, wife and 5 children, in one of the extended stay hotels in the north part of the county. This is a form of residency that is not addressed by laws. and the abuses on the individuals are horrific, just horrific. So a plea for a forum to take this public. And in fact, I believe our newsletter has forms of reach and breadth of reach that no other entity has.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mary. And let's go to Secretary Tony has discussed that. This, economic development. CEO.
Okay, wait a minute. Did you do community?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My bad.
Are you ready for me?
I'm
No
sorry.
problem. All right, no problem. Hello, fam. I'll keep it short. I know we're short on time. So just want to highlight a few things real quick. First of all, yes, thank you for the newsletter, Claudia, and the whole newsletter team. Outstanding job. It is already uploaded onto our community coordination Linktree page. Two things to highlight for as far as dates. Next Saturday, May 30th, from 12 to 6, we have the Puerto Rico in Maryland. So come on out and support for that. Linktree also, the link is also on the Linktree page. Saturday, June 20th should already be on your calendar. That is the Annapolis Juneteenth parade. And we don't have the meeting. Our general meeting has been moved, so there's no excuse not to show up. Please come out. It is one of the greatest parades that we have. We love it. We all show up, and I'm excited about it. So we need the numbers. Come on out and support. That's all I have, and everybody stay safe. Thank you.
Right.
She said May 30th.
Yes, the Puerto Rico Day.
It's not next.
Yes,
Thursday.
May. Is that not next? Maybe I'm rushing. So May 30th is Puerto Rico in Maryland. If it's not next Saturday, I apologize for that.
It's okay.
But it is May 30th though. And then Juneteenth is Saturday, June 20th.
All right. Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to skip you.
Oh, no problem.
I'm sorry. That won't happen again. Let me go. Okay. Let me hold on. Let me get back. I got to pull it up. Make sure.
I believe that in an email, Carol Smith had asked for an opportunity to talk about recruiting for the Juneteenth parade.
Okay. Carol, is Carol still on with us? Yes, she is. Carol, go ahead. Oh, your mic is not
Carol's okay.
So
I read for her. My mic is not working, so the Juneteenth parade is scheduled for Saturday, June 20th. And we signed up to be in it. We need to be in it. Both marchers and drivers. Call Carol Smith, and I'm going to give you her phone number, 410-280-5132. No text, phone calls only, if you can do it. And then I will note that we had to pull out of the MLK Day parade because we simply did not have credible representation. One person.
We did
I hope I
register.
did right by you, Carol. Thank you for your work.
We did have a lot of voter registration and membership and T-shirts sold that day.
That's true. We were strong at the tabling and not able to present at the parade. Carol has also offered her email address, and it's carouselrider13@yahoo.com. Carousel is spelled like merry-go-round, CAROUSEL, Rider, RIDER, 13@yahoo.com.
Thank you. All right. Act. Did we get any act?
I think we need to take that off the agenda, right?
Oh, yeah, you know, we can do it.
Okay. I didn't know whether that.
I would like to acknowledge that our ACT liaison, Linda Davis, is walking the Freedom Trail.
And Linda also will probably want to remind us that on May 21st, there's a forum that the ACT is hosting, a candidates forum on May 21st.
And John Wesley and John Wesley United Methodist where?
I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you.
Yep. Next we have our Economic Development Committee report.
Hello, y'all. Sorry. Had to get that out of me. No formal.
She's been waiting. She's been waiting.
No. To be honest, I'm trying to avoid burnout. No official report. I'll have something next month, I promise. But we had Tickle My Money Bone. It was good. Thank you. Yeah, another one. We're already scouting out another place. Actually, I went to a place in Jessup yesterday, Thursday, and found another place for next year. It's a beautiful Black-owned spot. So I'm excited to be back in the county again. But no, it was good. Food was good. Bar was good. Music was great. Comedian was good to great, depending on who you talk to. And we got to celebrate 10 years. So that was great. So really is the reminder, this event and how it relates back to what I'm doing with economic empowerment is removing the stigma, talking about money. So I'm was glad to hear Reverend Tillett and what he's doing and, with his campaign and what's important. But I want to say, don't forget, yes, I support those that are low income, and poverty and all of that, a lot of the programs, but don't forget us in the middle class. So we need support too, so I'm glad to hear that coming over to Glen Burnie, even though I live on the quote unquote Beverly Hills side of Glen Burnie. And it was hard to move to Glen Burnie hearing about dirty, Dina and dirty Burnie. So my husband had to really convince me to do that. But regardless, don't forget about us in the middle class because we matter too. But thank God for I'm not in the middle class, right? Because I have been a lot of that. But yeah, that's all I have for now. Just like Sky said, everybody stay safe and it's crazy out here. So.
I'm gonna have a meeting this month.
Yeah, I have it on there. So okay. Whoever want to come, please do. I can send. I know. Well, Mary was sending out the information, so whoever will be sending that out, Neva or whoever, okay. We'll get that information out to you guys so we can have a conversation.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Shay. I had a great time at the Tickle My Money Bone event. And I love the chicken and waffles on a stick. Tasted great. Cupcakes. Congratulations on 10 years of the business. We hit a milestone, amazing milestone. And the business is expanding in that 10-year time period. And if you all need any financial consultation or counseling services, Shay has been wonderful for us. So I know that the federal government is trying to make it harder to pay your student loans, and so I'm sure that you guys are up on that.
Student loans, tax debt, all those people are coming to us in droves about those issues. Yes, that's real. Thank you for mentioning. Right.
So for those who maybe need that type of consultation, please reach out to
Crusaders for Change. Yes. LLC. And thanks, Kiana, as well for coming out. Appreciate
you. Yep. Okay. Do we have education committee report or?
We have an oral brief education committee report. Books are being ordered, so we will have sufficient for all the upcoming events. I know Ralph isn't here. I do have several boxes of books in my car. I will coordinate with Ralph and with you, President Waddy, to get them to our storage center. Okay, and as I said, more coming. The big issue for us remains literacy. Now, when one hears about a literacy issue, what I'm hearing about most is that by state policy, at the end of the school year 2027, 2028, if children are not reading on level, a grade 3 reading level, some action will be taken for each of those children. At one time, it was supposed to be they would actually be held out back unless there were arrangements made for concurrent tutoring in reading as they went to fourth grade. Of course, there's been huge public backlash around that. And that is in discussion. It's not a given, but the fact that there will be something that needs to happen by that date for children who are not at that time reading on third grade level. And this is third graders being tested. So it will only affect those finishing third grade school year 2026, 2027. Work has been in progress in Anne Arundel County for over 2 years with the new reading curriculum introduced at the elementary level and training of teachers, but no one I've talked to yet has a picture of all the pieces of it. We know pieces are in place, but nobody's put the pieces together. Hence a literacy forum, hence the massive portion of my conversation with Dr. Bedell yesterday. We continue. Stay tuned for more. And during my conversation with Dr. Bedell, I elucidated, although it will not be announced elsewhere, that he is receiving a recognition from Kansas City, where he was the superintendent of schools and took them out of being, I'm forgetting the word, non-credentialed. Not the teachers are credentialed, the school isn't, and it's not authorized. It was in trouble.
Unaccredited.
Huh?
Accredited, I think.
Non-accredited, thank you. See, you don't need me as secretary. If I can't remember accredited. Got them to accreditation. And they have in their Juneteenth festival a memorial wall, and he will be acknowledged and his name will be put on the Civil Rights Memorial Wall, because what happened for those who were affected by civil rights in Kansas City that happened through the educational accreditation, all the changes that went with it, is deemed by that coalition as worthy of memorialization. And I will provide more information as it becomes available. But again, you won't be seeing this in the press or from AACPS. Thank you for the time, President Waddy.
Okay, no problem. Do we have a meeting coming up?
Yes,
Education.
we will. This in June, we will. It will be the evening of the first Thursday in June, and I'll send the notification out to the members of the Education Committee. Should someone want to join with us, you don't have to be a member of the Education Committee. Could you just get a message to me? And now I'm going to put my email in the chat and my phone number. Like Carol, these are distributed across most of the internet. So, use it, share it.
Thank you.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much, President Lottie.
Thank you. Let's go to the Environment and Climate Justice Committee report. Dr. Tracy Garrett Owusu.
Good morning. I love the way you say my last name. You say it better than me. I do not have any action items, but I'm just encouraging everyone not to sleep on data centers. And also, as I give information to President Wadi and Kiana, they put it on TikTok. The fight back is heating up, especially in Prince George. But remember, we are all interconnected. So whatever happens somewhere else in the state of Maryland around this is going to impact everyone. So just be aware and be clear. This really is not in anyone's best interest. So I'll leave it at that. And Shay, I am so grateful you have found somewhere else outside of Baltimore for the next Tickle My Funny Bone, because I'd love to come.
Money. Tickle my money bone.
Funny, money, it's all the same.
Great point, I got you.
Where'd you get it from? Well, I recommended Anne Arundel County, so she was talking about taking it out to Towson. I said, no.
I ain't never said nothing about no.
You know you want to go to White Marsh.
Oh my gosh, that's even further. Okay.
You wanted to go up to Bel Air.
I've had it in Arundel County.
About to take up to Abilene.
I didn't.
My God. Anyway, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Garrett Osu and Aquaba.
Madasi.
Okay. Let's go to our finance committee. Who's the O? I like Beyonce. Uh-oh.
Well, our finance committee did meet. We went over everything, all our books, checkbook balance, along with the treasurer's report and statement. And as you can see, our balance in the account of $20,540.73, inclusive of our regular checking balance plus our savings account. So.
Okay, thank you so much. And Freedom Fund.
I have not had a meeting yet. I do need to have one next month. One of the other things that we need to get implemented, last month we voted on adding a scholarship button donation tab. So we need to get that all kind of rolled into the process. But next month we'll have a meeting and a report. So more to come on that, because we also need to track down a keynote speaker that is a reasonable cost. Or if we can get one financed or donated, we can look into those options. So
that'd be great. All right, thank you. And Health Committee, we did get a message from our Health Committee Chair, Dr. Gomez, that he will be, he's gonna have to step away for a few months as he deals with some personal issues with his family, the health concerns that they're having. So just wanted to make sure that we keep him in our prayers, and him and his family as well. He's been doing great work again. And so you can always check out any of his health committee meetings that he's had on YouTube at our YouTube channel. He has interviewed many of our elected officials at the state level and local level around minority health, or Black health, Black male health, Black women's health concerns, poor people's health concerns, and how to address them. Labor and Industry Committee, do we have Tracy Parker Warren, Commissioner Parker Warren on the line?
I don't think so.
Okay. It's not here. Or let's get to we did political action, prison branch, and religious affairs. We've already heard from political action. So do we have any other unfinished business? I know we have the convention coming up.
Yeah.
So we just need to make sure that everything is approved in terms of the delegates. I think we did that last.
Yeah, so we just gotta, was Tracy Parker Warren or Curtis Jones on the executive committee meeting?
No.
Okay, so I think I gotta call them.
Okay.
Let's see.
So we'll get our confirmation of our members who are going to be attending the convention. And any new business? Okay, well, everybody, call your friends, call everyone else, and let them know that call the members that you know, and make sure that they come out on May 27th to John Wesley United Methodist Church. Get some rest that the day before, because we're gonna be out a little bit later for some people, and I look forward to seeing you there as well.
Can I make another admin recommendation? Something I see works in many different places is to send it out as a calendar invite to all
Okay.
the members.
Okay.
So even if they don't come,
You can add it to the calendar.
it adds it to the calendar, and you would go into your calendar, and you're like, oh yeah. So I mean, sometimes I hate when people do that, but honestly, I appreciate it because we're busy. So if somebody,
So can we do that through Breeze?
I think you can do it through Zoom, right? Like what the finance meetings, do they show up as a calendar invite for you or no? Yeah.
You have the.
Yes.
But we'd have to add each person individually, so.
well, you can copy the thing from
Yeah.
your whatever email that you guys send out, you just literally copy all those. So it's not-
That's the time consuming part of it. Yeah. So, but yes, thank you. That's a great recommendation. And we can add that as well. Kiana, you can do that?
Yes, sorry. I'm sorry, I'm here.
What are her main complaints
Yeah,
/ recommendations?
the calendar.
It's
set
like,
it
I
every
made
day.
a calendar.
Yeah.
Don't nobody want to use it. So we just gotta.
I think there was some, you made it and then I can't remember like where it ended because we just kind of, I don't know, but we need to revisit that, yes.
So this new business.
Yeah, these
Action
major
item.
events should be
We'll put
added
that
to
in
our
a new
calendar.
business action item.
Even the parade, that should be on our calendar.
Okay.
Any major event, just put it on our calendar. Doesn't change it. They just put it on your calendar.
Okay.
So, and-
Well, when it's paid staff. Paid staff, when the chamber starts,
Get some interns.
becomes
One day we'll get some
a
interns.
corporate member of the NAACP. We did try and collaborate with the chamber briefly, and I want you all to know that there's a perception from certain people in conservative groups that the NAACP is a special interest organization, and they don't. Well, our interests don't align with the small business community, and so there's belief in that, even though I can't. I don't know if you all feel that way. I don't think.
So can I speak on that? Because I am.
You can. Go ahead. As a small business owner.
As a small business owner
And a black person.
As a black woman, as an American someday. So this is real. And I talked about this with a lot of my black women business owners. There's a real conflict when you're a part of these type of activist organizations and you're a small business, because when you're in a small business room, they're, leaning a certain way for different things. And when they're going through policy, they don't necessarily align with what we do here with NAACP. So we are constantly conflicted with how do we proceed. And a lot of times, I'll just be the honest, there's some things that I'm like, I'm just gonna keep me out of it. Because I don't feel comfortable as a black woman, as a business owner, because they're trying to save money for people, but then we know that we need that money in taxes. So there's things like that you're like, okay. So there is a real conflict for even me. I have to put on a different brain when I come to this meeting versus when I go to a business meeting. So when I saw the emails between Dewan and Kiana about that, it made sense that sometimes the chamber is leaning this way and we're leaning another way. But I wish we could find a happy medium. We have two amazing black men running these organizations, and they can't even. I feel like y'all need to be in the room more often, because Dewan is actually very involved in his church and all of that. But then when he gets into the business room, he's a different man. So when I see Stephen and President Waddy out here doing that, what I mean? So
I'm the same man.
like
Well,
I love that about
so
you.
when you get me in a room with
Yeah.
small business people, I'm telling everyone.
Yeah.
I know their interests.
Yeah.
And I disagree with their interests. I'm not even about, like, they just signed this bill reducing tax credits or introducing tax credits for childcare centers. Childcare centers are some of the lowest paid jobs.
Yep.
It's filled with black people, black women specifically. And the owners are taking advantage of them. So the credentials related to that are you don't have to be a credential person to own one. There are Christian childcare centers that are like uh, Front for Patriot organizations. So but the chamber would be like, oh, that's a great thing because like small businesses and the small business community has been so overtaken by greed that they are willing to sacrifice their community for financial gain. And I mean, it's a kind of obvious thing, and I'm not one to, bite my tongue when I see these people being ignorant. So
Me either. When I'm in the room and I'm like,
exactly. That's why you gotta say like,
I buy out a lot of things. Like, you want to sign this? No, I'm not signing
Right,
it. I'm
right.
sorry, I can't. So
Right.
yeah,
paid leave.
yeah.
Paid leave was a really big issue that the chambers brought up to the Maryland State Legislature. When you talk with legislators about the fact that they passed paid leave, they were confronted by the chamber to not pass them. And it's basically about the greed of the organization. So
$25 an hour.
yeah, minimum
that's
wage.
big.
Yep.
So,
Minimum wage issues,
which would kill a lot of the small businesses.
which
So,
there are a lot
I'm
of poorly run small businesses that cannot afford to pay people. And there are a lot of large businesses that are putting small businesses out of business because they are able to take advantage of economies of scale, and we allow them to do it. And then so it's an ecosystem that we don't regulate very well from a federal, state, and local level. And it's because people have been captured by our legislators have been captured by our politics has been captured by a greedy group of developers, starting from the top. And then our governor for 8 years was a developer who liked to take advantage of the fact that Hogan had a company. And now we see even our county council members, getting paid significantly by developers. And so that's that's the issue that we're dealing with. So how do we regulate and take back, I guess, the politics of common sense and community from people who are solely focused on individual greed and protecting their little fiefdom. So like, how do we do that? So that's kind of where I think that we are. It's just we're in a place of conflict consistently, and it's not something that I want to have to sit here and explain all the time to small business people who know what they're doing. It's not like they're idiots. They know what they're doing, and they talk about us pejoratively because they know what they're doing. It's not like they're innocent. So I'm not gonna play dumb just to be in the same room with you. So like they have to come with some compromises in order for us to be able to believe them. And that's, I think, where we've lost a lot of trust with this DEI, this rollback of DEI programs, and their desire to even not speak up about it. So anyway, there's an aside. I think many of you all understand as well, just to get that understanding. So we look forward to seeing you all at so the chamber that Shay is mentioning is having their own candidate forum on the same day. So, but it's early, it's at 4 p.m. So ours is later in the day. And that's why we were talking about collaboration, because it's the same day. So it was like, why don't we just collaborate? And that's where the conflict around ideology came into play. It was not us that were bringing the conflict. It was them who were trying to talk about who we are and said, no, we wouldn't want to work with them. So even though we have our Arundel Green Book, which supports small businesses, we had and was used by the county in order to build their minority business development program. But we talk about small business suppliers, Black women-owned, veterans-owned program, minority-owned programs is something that we talk about constantly. Middle class hiring. So those are some of the things that's how a lot of these people made their money that are in the chamber, is through government contracting. And so they want to be able to monopolize it and eliminate the racial classifications and the gender classifications that are associated with them. And they might keep the veteran classification because it's made up of a lot of white veterans, white males, and then they want to keep white women as being being able to access, because that's what they would consider their wives as being the head of the organization in order to take advantage.
Yeah.
So that is a very common situation, and that's kind of where their basic brass tacks, the bottom line, as the businessmen would say. Anyway, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second by Janet. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
None in opposition? The meeting is adjourned, and we hope you all can enjoy your Saturday with this beautiful weather. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.